Hi everybody, I just thought I'd do a short video musing on something. I responded to a comment that Chris Cole made um, regarding his dad introduced him to Oscar Peterson, and he was probably the first jazz that he actually ever heard, that he was. And I said to him that at my home there was very little music. There was only a few Beatles singles, K-Tel compilations, a couple of Jim Reeves albums, and my parents didn't really listen to music. I mean, the radio was on. I remember that sometimes, vaguely. But it made me wonder if my dad had been into Oscar Peterson, what kind of musical pathways would I have taken? What kind of avenues would I have gone down if I'd have been open to jazz at such a young age? Because I wasn't. I don't think I ever really listened to it. I don't think I ever even heard it. I read a comment on a video a little while back, a classical music video, and someone said to this guy, "Oh, I would love to have been open up to classical music as a child and to have been able to explore all of that and appreciate it all from a young age." And it does make you wonder, where would we have gone? Where would you go? I mean, nowadays in the VC, of course, there are certain people who we look to who are like signposts on the way to a whole new era, avenues of music, if you like. And there are certain people who we kind of go, wow, they're almost experts in their field. Some people are far more general. And I think for a lot of us VC people, we do get inspired by other people. We hear what people are saying and they take us down different pathways. And maybe it feels sometimes like it's too little too late. You're trying to take in and absorb as much as possible. But it did make me wonder, I listened to a lot of different music. And for a long time, I didn't. A long time, I listened to maybe a few genres of music, of psychedelic music, progressive music, krautrock, rock, experimental music, and just touched upon other things here and there. Fusion was like something I only heard little bits of. Classical music, even, you just touch upon things down the years. I had the odd Shostakovich album and bits and bobs, but nothing really. But what could I have been listening to? That we all tend to kind of gravitate back to the things that we always know and always enjoyed anyway. And sometimes the exploration is it too late? Is it just that we play and we toy with it and we think, oh, this is fantastic and it's enjoyable, but it doesn't really last long. The will o' the wisp aspect. It comes and it goes, like the gossamers. It's wonderful and isn't it attractive, and then it disappears and it evaporates. And sometimes the music and listening to new kinds of music can be like that. It comes and goes. Maybe an album stays, maybe a song stays, but the actual genres of music disappear, and we go back to what we know best and what we feel resonates with us most. There's a tendency, I think, within all of us, and it's not a bad thing, to want to explore more. And maybe our motivations perhaps have to be called into question. I know that people like Chris Cole, for example, he looks at music in a very different way to a lot of people. And I have a certain affinity with where he's coming from. He sees music as almost, it's a higher thing. It's something which can open up spiritual experience. Now, I think it can have music expressed through from a spiritual place, if you like, can be a really powerful thing. I don't necessarily think it's necessarily on its own can potentially release or change you in a spiritual way. But in a way, there are There are things about all art, and maybe music more than any others, poetry to some degree, because we communicate in language that can do something and resonate with us on a different level. And music, of course, expresses something within us sometimes which we can't express through words, which almost touches upon something else, and which is perhaps what he's considering in terms of the deeper, the spiritual, the almost intangible and inexpressible. And we can grasp some of that sometimes through the medium of music. You know, I've said before, when I had the improvised band, there are points when you all come together, and it's an exultant and exalting moment. And we're all suddenly raised up, and you can feel it. And it's such a powerful and amazing thing. And it's fleeting. But every time you listen to that music again, that moment stays with you. Now, other people listening to it aren't necessarily going to get that. But I think sometimes, I mean, I know that people say sometimes in a live concerts, sometimes a whole audience can be brought up in a moment and everyone can feel something. But this idea of exploring, you know, what is it that we're looking for? Why are we collecting records? Why are we listening to music? What is it are we trying to challenge ourselves? Are we trying to find something out about ourselves? Are we trying to live for something in the moments that we have outside of work and outside of life, if you like, life going on? Are we trying to find something that we can hang on to? Is it just that it's an expression of ourselves almost? That everything we listen to is an expression of who we are, not an expression of the person we're listening to, the music that we're listening to, but a kind of symbiosis almost, where there's something about the reality of connecting with someone. Is that why we do it? I mean, what is it that's driving us? You know, what is it within you that's driving you? What is it? Is it just that you have this kind of compulsion? Is it that you don't want to let go? That you have to absorb as much as possible? Is it that you have to collect because there's a security in it? Is there security in that? It's an interesting thing. Where are we going? What is the road that we're on? Where are we at? If we'd have taken a different path, where would we be? It's an interesting thing. And of course, you know, all of these things we've said before to some degree, but sometimes it's nice to kind of have a signpost moment and think, where am I? What would I like to do next? Do I need to change anything? Am I truly happy in what I'm doing? Is this really me and I'm enjoying being me? And isn't that part of what it's all about? I mean, you know, life is not just about us, of course. It's about how we give and how we share and how we make things better for others, not just ourselves. But it's an interesting thing sometimes on this, not just in terms of collecting, but in terms of personality, in terms of inner growth even. I mean, we don't have to have inner growth, and it can sound pretentious and ridiculous and completely self-absorbed and a waste of time. But you know, maybe it's just a good thing sometimes to take stock and go, oh yeah, I'm enjoying where I'm at right now. I'm enjoying it. I think for me, I'm not totally enjoying it. There have been things for recent months even when I moved house here, there was a period when for the first couple of weeks, and I've only been here 2 or 3 weeks, but there was a period when I just thought, why have I brought all these records with me? What have I done? Why do I need this stuff? What is it? I mean, obviously, sometimes when we move, we question things, whether we kind of expect to question them or not. But I looked around and I thought, why have I got all these records? And I've now got about 4 boxes of records, probably, 400 records, which I don't want. I'm just going to get rid of them. Because I thought, I don't need these. I'm never going to listen to them. Why am I carrying them with me? But an interesting thing happened. Watching John the 6-inch pianist video on his incredible car boot find of Pussy Plays. He plays a few little needle drops, and one of the needle drops just made me go, oh, I want to listen to the music again. And I put the music on, and it just felt good again. It was kind of reinvigorated me, and it was just good to hear Hammond organ and some guitar and go, wow, this is just what I want to hear right now. And it just reignited me, and it set me off again. So it's interesting, there's subtle little things, just a little moment. So I say thank you, John, for that, because I was thinking, well, where am I going here? What am I doing? But that little moment, that little trigger, just to hearing that again, the thing that I always loved, and I've kind of drifted away from for a bit, the simplicity of the enjoyment of an incredible Hammond organ and guitar sort of workout, just that the bit of prog kind of riffing, wonderful, and it just brought me back to life. Anyway, this is a ramble, and please feel free not to comment. You don't have to. This is just one of those. I don't want to be answering comments for hours and hours on end, because sometimes these videos, you just end up in these hugely, deeply exploratory things. If you want to say that, I may not respond in a massively deep way, but at the same time, I'll be surprised if I don't. But anyway, there we are. We've said all this stuff before to some degree, but it's nice to touch base every now and then, and just to kind of reflect and think about something, and just where do we go, and allow these thoughts to take us. Anyway, I'll leave it there, and I'll see you all later.